pretty much end of July. So you know what time that is. It's time to hang some stands, hang some cameras. Today I'm actually just gonna hang some cameras. Picked up 4 of these bad boys. I was gonna actually do a little unboxing and kind of a setup thing on it, and I decided not to because the app is actually just incredibly easy to use. Anyways, the Reveal XB, which is the black flash. I like using a black flash camera simply because that red, that red flash, that's kind of like, if you have a chicken coop and you have chickens, you put on like red predator eyes, you know what I mean? So I'd rather just not have that and trying to scare these deer away. Most of them probably don't care, but just take every precaution you can, in my opinion. So I'm gonna try these out. This first year running these. Last year I ran a bunch of stealth cams, the Gen 1 Tacticam. I think that was it. I ran those 2 cell cams. I just prefer the Tacticam over the stealth cam, but that'll be a whole nother topic, whole nother video. We'll get into trail camera stuff. So anyways, I'm back out here. I'm gonna hang 4 cameras, 5 cameras probably, in an area I scouted. So I did a bunch of scouting videos this spring. Spring scouting is absolutely the best time to be out scouting for last year's rut sign, and you just don't have bugs. You see the woods like you've never seen it before. Just a bunch of reasons why that's when you should be scouting, primarily for the previous year's rut sign. So during the scouting adventure I went on, I did like 5 or 6 properties and like 6 videos, and I was gonna delay these videos until right before season starts. So when you guys are watching these, if you are watching these, and I screwed up a bunch of editing stuff. I don't know, I didn't save anything, not everything, but there's a few videos I just like lost clips on, and I saved it weird. I don't know what I did, honestly. It's just like, it's kind of a joke. It really makes me mad, but I think I'll only have like a couple scouting videos up, So this property was the first one I actually scouted, and I identified it as an awesome early season spot. And the reason for that was just kind of the acorns, a lot of white acorns. So they go for that stuff kind of early. And I think a lot of open pockets in here and a lot of edge. So I think they're bedding, using some of the edge to get in these acorns. I just identified it. To me, it just seemed like a spot that early season I could put a buck on the ground. So I'm gonna come back in here, put 5 cameras up. I'll kind of show you where I'm hanging these cameras up, kind of my strategy and why I'm hanging them, where I'm hanging them. And then since I didn't have that scouting video, I'll kind of do like a wrap up of what I found and kind of the layout of the property and how I'm hanging these cameras and how I plan to come back and set up on this. All right, let's get into the best topic ever of hunting, scent control. Such a debated topic, but it's super important. I don't care what you say. In the spring, when I was out here, I didn't really care about scent that much because it's springtime, snow just melted, deer literally don't care, in my opinion. You're not pressuring them, you're not doing anything. So that's why you come in the spring. You can scout the hell out of a property, out of public land especially. You can look for sheds in the process, you find last year's rut sign, and you just pick out where you're gonna hunt. So now I'm coming back in here to hang cameras. I'm not wearing like my hunting clothes, but I will enter and exit this piece of land the same exact approach as if I was hunting it, and I'll kind of go through that in the wrap up. But definitely using some spray. I don't know if that stuff matters too much, but I take a scent-free shower, put on clean clothes. I actually even built a fire at my house, unrelated reasons, but I stood in front of the smoke just to smell like smoke, I guess. Anything's better than human scent, because I will be back here in a month, so it's like it gives it plenty of time to cool down, but still, I mean, there might be 10 other people doing the same things back here, so you can only control yourself. So at least I'm going to take the precautions as if I'm hunting, you know what I mean? And I think it's important. And you'll see during season, I get really crazy about this kind of stuff. So I can't wait to kind of go into that and see how many freaks out there are kind of like me when it comes to scent control and how many times I change my clothes and a bunch of stuff. We'll get into that later though. But I'm going to shut up. I'm going to get in here, hang the cameras, and we're going to do kind of a wrap up on how I'm going to set up on this piece and be back here in a month. All right, so basically I have 2 cameras hung right now. I probably won't film every single one because sometimes it's pretty obvious I'm just putting them on trails. But I'll just kind of walk you through one right here. You can see, it's tough to tell right here. There's a good trail. It kind of just cuts out this direction. You can see right there's my camera. Then over here, if I walk around, kind of angling out, I have another one right here. So right here, my camera's over here. So basically, I don't want to put it like facing on a trail. I don't want them walking right at it. So I kind of put it off to the side, up high. You know, the thing's up probably 6 feet. So they're not just constantly looking at it. So if they do see this one's a Gen 1, so it's a red flash. So if they see that, I don't want them constantly walking right into it. So I always position these cameras off the side of a trail, like adjacent to it, where you can access it on the back side. So on this back side here, it's incredibly thick. That's an old clear cut that I can walk in on. And I come right to the back side of this, check the camera. I'm not walking through this area at all where I'm standing right now, where the deer are going to be using this to basically cut off this show right here. I have another camera. I just set up here on a grouping, probably 3-4 solid oak trees that you can see produce quite a bit of white acorn. So I want a camera to focus on that as like my feeding spot. So what I'm doing is trying to grid out this area basically and see which way the deer are kind of coming in. I have a good idea in mind from, you know, scouting this in May and stuff like that, but now is when I find out by gridding this all out with cameras. So far I got 2 hung. I'm gonna go at least get a couple more, do a little more walking around and show you guys what I'm, you know, kind of, I don't know if I'll film hanging the camera on the tree because that's boring stuff. You guys all know how to do that. But when, you know, I wrap this whole thing up, I'll kind of show you exactly where I placed them and why. All right, found another bed. This one's 100% a bed, not a 50-50. Real nice size one too, really big. That is 100% a buck bed. Not a doe bed. They're gonna be bedding on the edge of that food or even in that stuff, especially in the summertime. They're not, this is so thick, look around this. Look at that, crazy. I just walked in on this little trail right here. You can hardly even tell. It's insanely thick. There's no way you can even hunt a deer coming off his bed right here. It's wide open. It's really just to a T, a perfect spot. Seems like a big deer spot. I don't know. Could be a 6-pointer. It could be, you know, who knows. But pretty confident it's a buck. Pretty confident it's probably a good one. And it's a smart one at that. Great spot to bed. So I'm gonna try to get a camera up kind of close to it, not right on it, but kind of on this trail because it looks like it's just like a one way out trail, one way in, one way out. Sorry. So, which is pretty cool. That's like smart deer. So good to know though. Good to know that this is here. And like I said, I'm talking kind of quiet because, you know, I feel like I'm in this bedroom right now. So I'm gonna get a camera up on this trail and then we'll give you the breakdown after. All right, just got done hanging those cameras and figured to come back here and show you a very artistic drawing that I made, kind of giving you the whole breakdown. Because like I said, I lost so many scouting videos that I plan to put on this channel, and the whole point of this is kind of showing the whole process of my season for 2022, kind of the quest to shoot a nice buck. So hopefully it's going to go well, otherwise it's going to be a bunch of videos and me not killing a buck this year. But that's how it is up here. That's why I want to do this. I want to showcase how incredibly hard it is here. This isn't, you know, it's not easy, put it that way. So dive right into this beautiful drawing for you guys. Hopefully you guys can see this okay and the lighting's okay. So anyways, right here is kind of, I think when I flip the camera around and show you guys I hung one camera, was like somewhere in this area, and a bunch of these oaks were like all right here. So I put my main camera kind of right here. I didn't show you guys hanging every single camera because it was just kind of pointless. So this whole thing right here is oaks. So I'll label this all oak trees. So this is kind of that food source. This is that core little area that I'm really focusing on for the start of season. Right here, we have an older clear cut. So it's kind of like this hard edge right here. It's like a good buffer right here. So you have that nice edge. Right here's another edge because you have real thick, like, this is like popple and some other stuff. Real thick. This whole thing, mind you, is just under 2,000 acres. So I drew it out small. This whole oak area is probably 900 acres, so it's still really big piece of chunk that I'm trying to narrow down, you know what I mean? So you need a lot of cameras, but so I have a soft edge right here, another edge right here, kind of a hard edge, and then right here is kind of some of that open, like some old clear-cut spots. It's just very open. I have grassy patches through here. This is where I found that bed that I filmed, and then after I shut the camera off, I was whispering. I was quiet because I just didn't want to, I don't know, you know, still treat it like I'm hunting and not trying to disturb these deer, but found a bunch of beds in there. So they're definitely bedding from there. So the goal is cut them off from this bedding area, coming into these oaks to feed for the first part of opener, kind of the first couple weeks of the season. So what I did was hung that camera here, kind of put one over here, and then what I did was like this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I think, yeah, 5 cameras. So this is like a thick, brushy area, and it kind of sinks down into a hole. It's pretty big. And the deer kind of, at least for right now, they're forced to move kind of around this. So that's why I focused right here, and we'll have these cameras kind of on each side of it, and then hopefully come in to see kind of which way they're circling to get into like these oaks to feed. So granted, right now what you get on camera, or what you get on camera all through August, like take that with a grain of salt, because you could have 10 huge bucks showing up in August, and you're like, oh my gosh, I have a killer spot. Middle of September rolls around when season opens up, and you have 1 buck left, and it might be the smallest buck. So around like that second weekend of September, or second week of September, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, somewhere in that range, they start to shed all their velvet, these bigger bucks do, and they have a huge spike in testosterone. Hormone level is changing, so the deer change, their pattern will start changing. So the bachelor groups split up. Right now you're going to get a lot of camera pictures on bachelor groups. They're going to split up, and you might have, say, you know, a quarter of the deer that you had that are sticking around that area, and then the other ones kind of disperse, which you can still get on them. It's still good to know where they bed in the summer. It's still good to have cameras out right now in some of these areas that you think you can shoot one early. They'll disperse. It could be 500 yards, could be 1,000 yards, could be a mile, could be 2 miles. Every deer is different, and depending on how big that public woods chunk is for you guys, or private land, whatever it is, you still get on these deer. You know, it just takes a lot of effort, a lot of camera work, and well-placed cameras will not screw up a pattern. So I like putting out as many as I have, which is not a ton right now. I know some guys that are running 20. It gets a little crazy, it gets a little expensive, but I can understand why, especially up here. So long story short, I'm trying to cut these deer off coming into from bedding to food. And like I said, whatever I get on the camera for the next few weeks or over a month or whatever, it kind of tells me what's somewhat in the area, but that doesn't tell the whole picture. But it's a good idea to know what's out there, what's alive, what bucks to chase after, you know, kind of go from there. So yeah, I found a bunch of bedding here, which is exciting. It's tough to find bedding, especially summer beds. Some people struggle with that. I've always kind of struggled with that, to be honest. So it's cool to know where some of these deer are summering. And for my scouting in the spring, I found a bunch of good rut signs. So I have a good idea. Once, like I said, once those deer harden up, their horns harden up and they disperse, I have a good idea where I'm going to kind of set up on this during the rut. So it's kind of exciting. Hopefully I can just get the job done early. But the idea is to see how they circle. And the way I'll hunt this too, I'll come back in here, and there's probably 2 locations that I'm going to put a stand up on this. One's going to be kind of in this corner by these edges. And then one, ideally I want to shoot them somewhere in here, coming as close as I can to that bedding area, coming into the food. I want to get as close as I possibly can. I don't think I'm going to be able to hunt in that bedding area, just the way it's set up in there. Somewhere right in this area. I don't know exactly where I'm going to hang a stand, or if I'm going to hunt from the ground. I'm going to try to hunt from the ground, I think, over there. A stand will be somewhere in this corner, and I'll hunt this on like a crosswind. So this stand location right here, I can hunt on 3 different winds. You would think that from looking at this, the best wind would be coming in downwind of everything. Yes, that is obviously a really good wind to hunt this. I like to hunt on a crosswind. I think these bigger bucks use a crosswind. So if we have one coming this direction, this direction, this direction, this stand location is still good. This stand location can still be good with all these wind directions, depending on how these deer, hopefully if I pick them up on, you know, doing this camera work, figure out how they're coming in out of this bed to get into these oaks. So just a quick little rundown with this beautiful map. And just, you know, like I said, I lost my scouting videos, which I explained all this stuff and how I'd set up on it in the spring. So pretty much all these new hunting spots, which right now, this is my main focus for the first, you know, few weeks of season. And then mid-October comes around, you get that magical month of where rut starts, you know, kind of at the end of October. Then I have a bunch of other spots that I scouted a bunch in the spring. So I'll go through the whole process of hanging stands, how I'm kind of breaking it down, how I'm setting up on it, film all these hunts, and hopefully it culminates to shooting a big buck. But yeah, that's about it for this one. So hopefully you guys enjoy this stuff. Hopefully you guys follow along for the quest. It's going to be interesting. We'll see what happens.